There's this question of embryos. In the process, they are destroyed, disposed of. If you believe life begins at conception, fertilization, and I know you do you see that as murder?
It's something that we've got to grapple with. You know, it's a brave new world. We support the sanctity of life, of course, and we support IVF and the full access to it. We do believe in the sanctity of life, and if you do believe that life begins at conception, it's a really important question to wrestle with.
But you didn't answer it. That was House Speaker Mike Johnson hedging on what IVF means for those who believe that life starts at conception. But what he was clear about was that this is not an issue Congress will be taking up. Joining me now is Robert P. Jones, president and founder of the Public Religion Research Institute and author of The Hidden Roots of White Supremacy, and Irin Carmon, senior correspondent for New York Magazine, who's working on a book about the broken system around being pregnant in America. Irin, my friend, did you understand his answer? And how do they fix this conundrum? Because if you think life begins at conception, then once you freeze the babies, you have to keep them, you have to use them.
You know, there's a lot of strategic vagueness, and we know the reason why they're being so vague. This is the logical conclusion of their position. As our old friend Tony made very clear, if you truly believe life begins at conception, as Mike Johnson, a soldier of the Christian right, certainly does, you will be concerned about things like freezing embryos in ways that they may not survive if you thaw them. That is something that routinely happens when people have multiple embryos. If you really drill down to what he's saying he supports IVF, but wants to restrict it so profoundly that it would leave many families suffering from infertility with very few options. And the reason that he's hiding the ball, of course, is because everybody knows that this is a deeply unpopular position, and they were caught off guard that the natural conclusion of their restrictions on abortion, contraception, and beyond have now been staring everybody in the face in a way they can't hide.
Right. And the thing is, you know, Robbie Jones, is that the problem is that they want the Handmaid's Tale. And it turns out The Handmaid's Tale is very unpopular. Even if you haven't seen the series or read the book, no one wants to live in The Handmaid's Tale, but they want The Handmaid's Tale. And I'm old enough to remember, you know, even when I was in high school, the far religious right believed that IVF was demonic, and they didn't believe in it at all. And so they have to now hide that too. But let's talk about this gentleman, Mike Johnson, because he's not just a Christian right member, he's a Christian nationalist. Tell us, what is Christian nationalism and how is it driving the politics of Republicans?
Well, thanks, Joy. You know, yeah, I think in that clip we saw a really great example of, you know, the Louisiana two-step in action, trying to kind of get around, you know, the obvious contradictions here. You know, but Christian nationalism really is this idea, you know, that America is a country of, by, and for Christians, and particularly one kind of Christianity. Right. I mean, it's very clear, too, that it really is the group that's most pushing this. And the group that's most representative is the group he's a part of, white evangelical Protestant Christians. We at PRI just did a big national study, and about 3 in 10 Americans qualify as Christian nationalists, either adherents or sympathizers, those who believe basically these views that the U.S. law should be based on the Bible, America should declare itself a Christian nation, et cetera. But when you look at white evangelical Protestants, it is 2/3 of that group who believes that. When you look at Republicans, it is 55% of Republicans that adhere to this worldview. And it just so happens that with the topic we're talking about, they're also one of only a couple of religious groups in the country that believes that abortion should be illegal. This is not even a religious secular issue, really. Most religious Americans today actually support the legality of abortion, including Latino Protestants and Latino Catholics and white Catholics in the country. You know, if you look at even among white evangelicals, for whom I'll stop on this point, but even among white evangelicals, 72% oppose the legality of abortion in most cases. But even among that group, if you ask how many Americans support a total ban on abortion in the country, you know, it is less than 1 in 10. It is 9%. Yeah. And even if you look at white evangelicals themselves, it's only 17%. Yeah. 1/7. Even of white evangelicals who say they want a complete and total ban. So he is way out in left field here, not only with the country, right, but with his own constituents.
Right, but the problem is, Irin, is that the way that the power is distributed, it's disproportionately distributed to rural Americans, or disproportionately falling into this group. And the Senate gives them a lot of power, and the House at the moment is controlled by one of them, and a lot of them who adhere to it. And it is interesting to watch them try to message around this, because IVF is for affluent women. So they're afraid that affluent women will actually vote. They don't care about poor women who they're forcing to have babies that are conceived through rape. They don't care about that. They're scared of the rich women, the affluent women. But when it comes to overall women, there is this now push to play this Baby Olivia video. It's a video that gives misconceptions about pregnancy and about when pregnancy actually produces a viable, when this is a viable fetus. They want to play it in schools. So what you're now seeing is a sales job. They want to convince women that, oh, no, you want to live in The Handmaid's Tale.
You know, there is a broader agenda here, even though theoretically, they're saying that they support IVF. IVF also, when it is accessible to people, puts the power in the hands of individual families and women to decide when they're ready to have a baby. The broader agenda of we decide when you have a baby is undermined when people feel like they can plan their families, whether it's to have an abortion, to use contraception, or if they have infertility, to try IVF, if they have a series of miscarriages. There's lots of reasons why people have IVF. So I think ultimately what ties all of this together, and for the same reason that tonight at the State of the Union, you're going to have Brittany Watts, a woman who was criminalized for having a miscarriage. You're going to have Kate Cox, a woman who was denied an abortion in her home state of Texas and was forced to travel even though she had a non-viable pregnancy. I think what ties it all together is this fundamental system of control and who is in charge. And a very small, undemocratic core of people would like to be in charge and take that control out of the hands of people who can reproduce.
Yeah, and it is always about controlling women, y'all. It's never been about babies. Because if it was about babies, they would actually be in favor of, I don't know, school lunch and, health care. But they're not.
Mortality.
There you go. Robert P. Jones. We're going to have this conversation again. Robert P. Jones, Irene Carmon, thank you.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Wheelie.
Sir, come on, what is it now, please? Okay, couple of things. I wanted low on the double. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I was so damn good on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
This was just a diversion. Security, please bring him up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. What's readiness? What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Right, evac.
She's right in front.
We are facing a heavy, sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark aircraft. General, General! Need to evac immediately, General. Evac immediately. Hold on. National security advisory. Stay down. Check it out. Failed the mission operation. The amateurs on a suicide mission.